You just got off the call, your first real one. A small business owner that you met through a friend listened to you for 45 minutes about how AI could automate their lead follow-up, save them 20 hours a week, the whole thing. They were nodding, they were excited, and at the end of the call, they said those magic words: "Send me a proposal." You hung up, you sat down at your laptop, thrilled, opened Google Docs, and you started typing. And right there, in that exact moment, that's where most people who try to break into the AI automation business lose the deal before they even send it. I've watched this happen to so many people, smart people who would absolutely deliver the work. They've spent months learning N8N and Make. They've built test automations on their own systems. They've watched every YouTube video out there. But the second that they try to make their offer look like it's worth a serious price, that's when they fold. They send a Loom video and a PayPal link. And the prospect, that same person that was excited an hour ago, they say, "Let me think about it." And then you never hear from them again. So here's the part nobody tells you when you're trying to start an AI business. The skill isn't the bottleneck. The follow-up materials are. What you send after the call actually decides everything. And today I'm going to show you the exact closing kit that I would put together if I was landing my first AI automation client this week. All 3 documents in this kit are branded the same, looking like they came from a real agency, even if it's just you at your kitchen table. Built in under an hour using 3 AI tools from Venngage. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dawson, and well, let me just show you how this works. Stick with me till the end because there's a 50% discount code that gets you Venngage Premium. But first, let me show you the kit. Let's start with the part that wins the room, the pitch deck. So most aspiring AI agencies skip this. They jump straight into the proposal. That's a mistake because before someone agrees to the scope, they need to buy the vision. The proposal answers, "What are we doing?" The pitch deck answers, "Why does this matter?" Now go to venngage.com/AI-tools/presentation-generator. So once the page loads, you'll see this prompt box. Now here's the prompt that I would use. And pay attention because this is the difference between a deck that converts and a deck that ends up in someone's downloads folder forever. I type high ticket sales deck for an AI automation agency pitching a small business owner. Focus on 3 things: time saved per week, ROI of automated lead generation, and a clear 3-step implementation roadmap. The style should be modern, dark mode, high fidelity. Audience: business owner who wants results, not technical details. Hit generate. The AI builds the deck. You watch the slides come together. Title slide, problem slide, solution slide, the ROI breakdown, the roadmap, the next steps, it's all there. And here's what I want you to notice, really notice. We're not selling tech here. We're selling the vision of a transformed business. So that distinction is everything. A business owner doesn't want to buy an AI workflow. They want to buy 20 hours back in their week. So lead with that and the price stops mattering. Now the deck that Venngage generates, it's good out of the box, but you're not done yet. So this is where most people stop, and it's why their decks look generic. You need to make it yours. So click into the editor, set up your brand kit if you haven't yet. It takes about 30 seconds. So drop in your logo, your 2 brand colors, the font that you use, and then from now on, every document that you create on Venngage automatically uses these. So that's the consistency that I was talking about earlier. Then walk through each slide and use the AI writing assistant to refine the copy. So here's a specific move that works. Highlight the value proposition section, the slide that explains what the client gets, and use the option that says, make this more compelling and results oriented. So watch what happens. The generic line that we provide AI automation services, turns into something like, we give you back 15 hours a week so you can focus on closing deals, not chasing leads. That's the difference. Same idea, sharper words, and you didn't have to write it yourself. Now, while we're in the editor, generate a custom icon set. So use the AI icon generator and prompt it for an automation icon, something like a gear with a spark or a robot arm. Here's a pro tip. Generate one and then duplicate it and then click modify and ask for a matching one like a clock with a spark or a graph going up. You repeat that until you have 3 or 4 icons that look like they all came from the same designer. Now, drop them into your slides, and that tiny detail, that matching iconography makes the deck look 10 times more expensive than it actually was. Now, the last thing on the deck, run the accessibility check. So it scans your whole document for contrast, your alt text, your readability. Now, a professional agency will make sure that every client document is accessible. And honestly, most clients won't notice, but it's a subtle flex that separates you from the amateurs. And if you ever pitch to a large corporate client or a government contract, this is non-negotiable. Export it, PDF for sending, the deck is done. Now, let's move to the document that locks in the deal, the proposal. And here's where I see the most expensive mistake in the whole process. So people write their pitch deck in Canva, for example, their proposal in Google Docs, and their contract in Word. So that's 3 documents in 3 different styles, sometimes 3 different logos at 3 different sizes. The client opens them and subconsciously thinks, but this person has never done this before. So even if you charge a lot, you look like a single-digit freelancer because nothing matches. So Vengage's AI Proposal Generator, it fixes this in one move. So open a new tab, go to the Proposal Generator, and the same brand kit applies automatically. Again, the same colors, the same fonts, same logo as your deck. The client gets 2 documents that feel like one continuous experience. So take the core points from the deck and feed them right into the prompt. I'd write something like a 10-page business proposal for a small business client implementing AI lead automation. Include an introduction, a client problem summary, proposed solution, a scope of work with 3 phases, timeline of 6 weeks, pricing tier and what's included, and clear next steps with a signature block. Hit generate. So now you've got a real proposal, not a one-pager, not a Loom, an actual 10-page document with sections that look like a consulting firm wrote it. The introduction, the problem statement, proposed solution, scope of work, timeline, pricing details, next steps. Here's a real example of what this changes. A guy in our community, he was charging clients $1,200 for AI workflow setups. Solid work, real results, but he was sending it as a Notion page. He switched to a proper proposal with the same brand kit as his discovery call deck, and on his next pitch, he asked for $4,500. The client said yes without negotiating. Same work, same person, different presentation. The price stopped being a question. Now, in the editor, refine the proposal the same way that you refine the deck. AI writing assistant on the value proposition, custom icons for each phase of the scope of work, brand kit auto-applied, accessibility check at the end. Export as PDF, and now you have 2 documents that look like they came from the same agency. And we're not done yet. The 3rd document is what most beginners forget entirely, the contract. So here's the thing that nobody tells you about closing big deals. The moment that your prospect says yes to the proposal, there is about a 48-hour window before they cool off. Their assistant pushes back on the price. Maybe their spouse asks, do we really need this? They start second guessing. So if you don't get a signed contract in that window, the deal dies. So you need a contract ready to send the moment they say yes. Not a contract that you draft from scratch, not a contract that you copy from Reddit and pray that it's legally sound. A professional service agreement that arrives in their inbox 5 minutes after they verbally agree. Now, go to the contract generator at Venngage.com. This is the same brand kit auto-applied. This is now the 3rd document with the same look. And the prompt I'd use for something like this would be an AI automation service agreement between an agency and a small business client. 6-week project. Pricing total would be billed 50% upfront and 50% upon completion. Include the scope of work, intellectual property, payment terms, confidentiality, dispute resolution, and the termination clauses. So now generate, watch the AI populate the clauses, scope, IP rights, payment schedule, confidentiality, dispute resolution, termination, done. You don't want to fumble the close by sending a messy contract or making your client wait 3 days while you ask your lawyer friend. We're generating a professional service agreement that protects both sides, and it looks like it came from a real legal team. So, one honest note here, this is a strong starting point. Now, for a first project, this is more than enough. But as your deals get bigger, you'll want a real lawyer to review your standard template once. So pay them a few $100 one time, and then you have a battle-tested agreement that scales with you. So don't skip that step at higher tiers. Again, export as PDF, you now have your full closing kit. 3 documents, the same brand, same level of polish, ready to send. Now, let's talk about how this changes the actual conversation. So before this kit, your prospect goes home from the discovery call, they Google you, they find your LinkedIn, they find a Loom video, they get an email with project quote in the subject line and a 1-page PDF attached. They subconsciously decide that you're a freelancer, not an agency, and they counter with, "Can you do this for less?" Now, after this kit, your prospect gets an email 20 minutes after the call. The subject line says, "Your AI automation roadmap. Next steps." They open it, 3 attachments, a pitch deck, a 10-page proposal, a service agreement, all branded the same, all looking like a real business made them. They forward it to their partner with the message, "I think we should do this." The conversation stops being, "How much does it cost?" and it starts being, "How fast can we start?" That shift right there, that's the only thing between you and your first big client. A quick word on Vengage's pricing, because people always ask. The free plan actually lets you try this. Generate a deck, a proposal, and a contract. You can actually see how the workflow feels, and it's fully functional. The premium and business plans unlock the brand kit auto apply, the private sharing, and unlimited AI generations, which is what you want if you're going to be doing this regularly for clients. And here's where the discount comes in. Use code JAKE50 at checkout. The link's in the description below, and you get 50% off your annual premium or business plan. Now, that's literally the cost of one client paying for an entire year of the tool that helped you close them. All right, before we wrap up, a couple of bonus moves here. First, save these 3 documents as your master templates. That way, every time you do another discovery call, you're not starting from zero. You're tweaking the brand kit colors if needed, swapping out the client's name, and changing maybe 2 paragraphs. A pitch that used to take you a full afternoon now takes you 20 minutes. You send proposals the same day instead of 3 days later, and the same day is the difference between closing and losing. Second, use the AI writing assistant differently for different sections. So for the problem statement, ask it to make this more emotionally resonant. For the solution, ask it to make it more result-oriented. For the pricing, ask it to make it clearer and more confident. So these different prompts for different sections, and the document starts to read like it was written by someone who actually understands sales, not someone who is afraid to charge. Third, watch your retention numbers. So once you start using a real closing kit, the clients you land actually stick around. They refer you. They come back for phase 2 because the experience felt premium from that first email. So that's how you go from 1 client to 10 in less than a year without ever doing cold outreach again. All right, that is the closing kit. The pitch deck, the proposal, the contract. 3 Venngage tools, same brand, built in under an hour. So drop a comment if you're going to put this together this week. I want to know what your first prospect is. And if you want the actual template prompts that I used in this video, the deck prompt, the proposal prompt, the contract prompt, I dropped them in our school community along with the breakdowns of 3 real closing kits that I've seen work. So the link to that's in the description below. It's where the actual AI agency builds actually happen and where you'll get feedback on your deck before you actually send it to a real prospect. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next video where we're going to take this even further and dive into AI-powered productivity. Just click on the video to my left and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. See you there.